everyone. How are you today? This is Tuesday, 21st of October, 2025. And the overflow today is about authority. Authority. What comes to your mind when you think about authority? The word authority. Authority is the power or the right to make decisions. It's the power to give directions, to influence other people, right? It comes from a position. Authority comes from a title that you may have or recognition that you have. But real authority gets or goes far beyond that, goes far beyond position, title, or recognition. Think of a superhero's cape, right? A judge, a robe, right? Robe, sorry, I don't know how to say that. Robe, the dress that the judge is wearing in court. That's the position of authority. Some countries, they have a wig as well. But the doctor, think about the doctors, the white robe, or the police officer, right? With the uniform, that gives authority, right? It's a picture of authority. It's a symbol that represents earned authority. They show, perhaps in some professions, years of study, discipline, testing, and sacrifice. People respect these uniforms because people recognize the responsibility and the preparation behind that, right? Or those individuals that wear a uniform and have some authority. But in the same way, your authority is something you build, right? It's never simply handed to you. Right, there you go. Take your authority. So what's the process of building authority? Authority is like building, right? It's constructing a building. You start a building one brick at a time, laying the foundations, and then you're building your authority. You invest time, you invest energy, and the experiences that you have, you study, you practice, and you teach. You serve others. You're adding value to people's lives. You are building your authority, right? And people start to recognize that, wow, you have something to say, you have something valuable. They may recognize that you're an expert in a field. So you're building an authority in a specific field that you work. So true authority doesn't come from power or position. It comes from competence. And when people recognize your competence, and attached to that competence is your character as well. And character is earned, right? You earn the trust of people through consistency and through integrity, right? So your authority grows as you demonstrate your reliability, when you are reliable, and the wisdom that you share in your field. Over time, people begin to trust your voice, right? Your judgment, your leadership. So you may ask, Flavio, do you have authority? Well, what I'm doing right now on these videos, I am little by little building authority. I'm learning each day a concept, an idea. How do I break this idea down? And how do I extract wisdom out of this idea? Today we're talking about authority. So how do I get this concept for me and make it valuable to others? So hopefully, as I build this channel, I want to be remembered someone that's connected to wisdom, that likes wisdom, likes to understand ideas and concepts and take valuable principles out of that. So I am little by little building my authority in this field, right? Now, the foundations of personal authority. Authority begins with self-respect. You can only lead others to the extent that you can lead yourself, right? When you respect yourself, when you have your value, your time, your commitments, when you respect them, you project the same standard outwards, and people will respond to you because they see that you honor yourself, you respect yourself, you are committed to yourself, right? Your current level of authority is based on the investment you've made up to this point, what you have built up to this point. But interesting thing is, whatever brought you here will not take you to the next level, right? So to keep growing, you must continue learning and then adapting, improving in capacity, then you continue to build authority. You continue to build your influence, right? Every new environment, every new test, every new environment, new experiences will test your authority. New challenges, and the pressure is on, and it can be stressful, right? But that the saying, no pain, no gain. When you are facing a challenge, is that that you actually being stretched, you are growing, and you are building authority. In the future, you can look back and see, well, I walked through that valley, I've experienced that difficulty, I've overcome, I came out on the other side, I have the authority, I can speak into this because I've lived it and I'm out of it. So people will observe how you behave under pressure, how you solve problems. They will see how you treat others. They will see how you respond to adversity. So these moments either strengthens you or they weakens your authority. So how you respond to problems and adversity will strengthen or weaken your authority. Your story as well, your personal story, build authority. Your journey, your experiences, even your online presence can add to your authority. It's branding, right? Your personal branding, the visible expression of your inner authority, the mark you are giving to the world. Now, in the areas where you lack skills and knowledge, your authority will be limited. The fields that you're not influential, then you lack authority on those fields. So recognizing these areas that you need to grow and to improve allows you to grow and to expand influence. I've been this past year learning about communications. How do I express myself? How do I improve public speaking? So I am building little by little, one step at a time, public speaking, to the point that I come in front of a camera. How do I communicate? How do I express myself in a way that can be helpful to others, right? Because I didn't have much. So building authority in what you did not have previously, but you are adding value, and you're learning, you're studying, and you are learning from someone, from experts. What about the spiritual authority? The Bible talks about spiritual authority. The verse that says, that Jesus says, I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all power of the enemy. Of course, it's talking about spiritual forces, spiritual authorities, invisible authorities. Hi, Jackson. Welcome. Great to have you here. I'm not so sure you're the only one here. I can see that there's around 9-10 people in the live, maybe. But you're welcome. So spiritual authorities. Our authorities, whether earthly or spiritual, ultimately comes from God. So there's a verse that Paul was writing his letter to the Colossians, and he said, For in him, in God, all things were created, things in heavens and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or... So as a follower of Christ, you are entrusted with authority. If you follow him or not, I'm not so sure, but there is a spiritual kingdom out there. Damien says, do you believe in other dimensions? Definitely. I do believe that. Yeah. Definitely believe in different dimensions. I believe in spiritual world, and it's out there in different cultures, in different religions. You cannot say that there is no such a thing as a spiritual world. Definitely is out there. And it is important to consider a spiritual authority, not just the authority in this world with in your field, your career, your job, your expertise, but the spiritual authority that you have in your home, in your relationships, right? And how do you build that? You build that in prayer. You build that in spiritual disciplines, fasting, prayer, meditation. I would add reading scriptures, having the time of silence, connecting with God, connecting with the Creator, right? In my case, I connect with Christ. I think the work of Christ, the work of the cross, is fundamental to access this spiritual realm, if you like, and build a spiritual influence in the world. And we do need people, we need good people, you and me, to connect with God and exercise this authority for good. Exercise it for good, for the good of society, for the good of people, right? Now, Damien says, do you think some... I don't know what that means, quarks. Let me just check that. So it might be a good question, Damien. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, okay. How well are you educated in particle physics? Not much. I can't speak into that, but it sounds very interesting. I do believe in metaphysics, and that the spiritual realm influenced the material realm. I can't go in details into that because I don't have I'm not well educated to speak into that, but I know there are more out there than we think or that we know, and of course some people know quite a bit about that. But I do believe the spiritual world influence the material world we're living in. As we have our earthly dimension, the physical dimension, we have the invisible dimension, which is part of the invisible dimension is the waves, right, that we have. We can call that physics as well because we can access. As we have the Wi-Fi, we are communicating, and wherever you are in the world, you can see the image and the sound that is coming. This is all invisible in many ways. It's not spiritual, but it's invisible. But beyond that, I believe there is a spiritual dimension. I think science, they are trying to discover and accessing those points. And there are things we can't explain yet. And there are things that we can explain. And there are things we can experience, the phenomena we can experience. So it's very interesting. But thank you for engaging and for your connections. But hey, before we go, because it's getting late, I need to go to work soon. I want to get ready. There are a few things you can do to build your identity. So identify perhaps obstacles. You could list behaviors that stop you from becoming an authority in your area. What can stop you to become an authority in your area? For myself, I can see distraction is one of them. My mobile phone can be a huge distraction to me, right? Entertainment can be a distraction. Negative thoughts can be a distraction. So list your personal behaviors or things that you do that can be a distraction for you to build authority in the areas that you want to build authority. You can also choose your niche, right? Decide a field or perhaps a market you want to be known for, and outline the steps that you need to build credibility in that market, right? Right, then let me read what you said. We have some quarks that seems to come in and out of existence, and these are part of what make up nearly absolutely everything in this universe. Hey, I'm gonna search that, actually put on Google for me to check what you say. These quarks or particles that you said that, because I don't know much about that. It's the first time I hear this word actually. But thank you for sharing that. I'm learning something new today. Appreciate that. So it does point to a dimension before time in what we know exists of pure energy that still interacts with our universe. That's interesting. I know that everything is energy, but very good point. Right, guys. What are the other activity you can do? It's learn from examples. Choose 3 people you recognize authority in your choosing niche, in your field of that you want to grow, and write down the traits and the habits that the 3 people have. How can you model those habits? How can you model these persons? How can you capture the authority that they have to your own life, to your own career, to your own business, to your own presence, wherever you are, right? And the last thing you can do is announce your positioning. Let people know you're building authority in a certain field. I've shared in this channel, and I shared with you today, that I am building communication, trying to be a better communicator. And this channel is helping me little by little, and unpacking concepts and ideas and learning about those ideas so that I can express myself in those ideas. So it is a learning process. It's a channel that hopefully adding value to people, but the process is growing. And I do encourage you the same. Why don't you open a YouTube channel and start sharing ideas and things that you love and like, that is meaningful to you, but is also positive to other people. And as you do that, you develop yourself, you build your authority, right? So I leave you a question before we close. I need to go soon. How do your confidence and impact change if you fully stepped into your God-given authority today, your purpose today, Well, how would your confidence and impact change if you stepped into your authority and start leading with conviction, not hesitation? So think about those. Authority grows where character, competence, and consistency meet. Your consistency, your daily disciplines, those things build day by day your character. So I hope this has been helpful to you. And thank you for your interaction. Thank you, Damien and Anne-Marie Jackson. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, wherever you are, wonderful evening. Okay, and I shall see you next time. Okay, God bless. Bye for now.